tell us, before we get to that, when you began to, are there some cases or sessions that stand out for you when you first were developing this couples choreography?
Oh, yes, yes. Well, first of all, I was kind of scared, the first time I tried it. And it was in a couples group, and I asked all of them to do this. But the first couple stood up, and he said, well, the way I got into it was I asked them to close their eyes, to have a fantasy about their relationship, to imagine themselves in symbolic forms. And then I asked them to stand up and act out the interaction between the two forms. So the wife stands up and she says, he's King Kong and I'm Fay Ray.
Okay.
And he's holding me in the palm of his hand, and he's carrying me to the Empire State Building. And if he goes, I go, because he won't let me go.
Oh, dear.
And I thought, wow.
There you go.
That says more than 1,000 words.
No excessive intellectualization there, that's for sure.
Yeah, right. Okay. And so then I thought, well, I want to make this interactional. So I said, show me. And so he embraced her, and I said, and what do you do? And she said, well, I push him. Well, that doesn't work. And so I cuddle up to him, and that doesn't work. And so I try and duck underneath, and that doesn't work. She showed me all these things she tried to do, and she said, so finally I just give up. And so he stood up, and he said, I also thought of myself as an ape. He said, but I'm an impotent ape.
Oh, dear.
Love that analogy, an impotent ape. And he said, and she is in a corner, and she's all huddled up in the corner, and she's totally helpless. And I go over and I try and stand her on her feet, and she just falls down. I embrace her. She doesn't respond. I shake her. She doesn't respond. Nothing I do, I can't get to respond. So I leave her on the floor and I go off to work, but I can't think of anything all day except her in that position. So that told me a lot about the way he described. And then I asked them, well, when do you turn into King Kong? When does he turn into King Kong in your daily life? In other words, you bring it all into your daily life.
Yeah.
And she said, she gave examples of it. And then he gave examples of how she acted so helplessly. No wonder he was always trying to help her. And so we then got into their relationship and were able to change it.
So what is it that the sculpting did in terms of getting into the relationship then that wouldn't have been possible if you hadn't brought this underlying dynamic to life with such technical fashion?
What it did was, it's not so much how do you behave in this relationship, what is the interaction. I mean, that's all very important, and I still deal with that. But what I was aiming for was something deeper, which is, who are you in this relationship? How do you experience this relationship? Who are you to him? Who is he to you? So it's a total experience. It's like a gestalt. It's on many different levels.